right, and we're live.
Cool.
Welcome. We're welcoming back Kevin, and we're also welcoming back James to Oahu. So welcome back, guys.
Chi.
Kevin,
Finally,
how have you been, dude?
it's been a crazy, what is that, week and a half? Or yeah, let's say 11 days. 11 days, because my son, Finley McConna Mahoney, was born on September 15th at 8:37 a.m., coming in at 7 pounds, 10 ounces. And you probably hear him in the background right now. Um, he was 20.75 inches long. So, yeah, everything was good. I mean, like the funny thing is, like all the things you guys were telling me were true for the most part. I mean, because I realized that everyone's experience is going to be different. I mean, there's some things that are going to be the same or similar, but overall, yeah, you're. It just depends on um, what like which hospital you go to, the nurses you have,
Yeah.
the doctors you have. It just and yeah, because okay, here let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so what was it? September 13th. September 13th. Dee, she goes in for her weekly non-stress tests, and basically that's where they just check the baby's heartbeat and making sure everything is good. So she goes in. Her appointment's at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so she goes in. They do the tests, and then they find out that her amniotic fluid is low. So like, okay, well, your amniotic fluid is low, so we gotta do some tests just to make sure baby's okay and you're okay, and we don't have to induce. So they go do the test. Dee calls me up and she's letting me know. She's like, hey, this is happening. I might be admitted and they might start inducing me. I'm like, okay, all right, no problem. I'm at work. I let my boss know. He's like, yeah, no problem. If you gotta go, you gotta go. No worries. So I'm pretty much just waiting. So I'm at work, just waiting for her to give me the go ahead. Like, okay, all right, head down here. And then I want to say like maybe this was probably like around lunchtime, like close to noon. And then she's like, okay, they're admitting me. You can start heading down here. But I mean, like nothing, like it's not emergency type deal. She's like, just yeah, take your time, go to the house, grab all our bags, everything that we need, and then head to the hospital.
This is still on Monday when she had her
Yeah,
appointment.
this is Monday. This is, mind you, her actual induction appointment was on Friday the 17th. So this is like a whole 5 days earlier from her actual induction. So we didn't have like I remember I was watching both your guys' videos, and you guys are just like, oh, chilling, like, oh, here we are, we're getting induced, and I was like, man, I wish I had that. Okay, I didn't have that. I was I wasn't saying I was like super rushing, but I went home, grabbed all the bags, and make sure we had everything, and then I remember. Oh, she's telling me, she's like, oh, bring some snacks because they have a cafeteria, but they don't really have like a place where you can get snacks. I'm like, okay, so I go 7-Eleven, buy some snacks, head over there, and I think she told me she was in the triage, but I wasn't sure like what that meant. So um, so when I got there, I brought like everything. I brought the bags. I brought all the bags. I brought the stroller. I brought, the car seat, everything. I got everything, and then I get there.
I know, like I didn't think you needed the stroller, but that's funny.
No, yeah. So I bring everything, right? And because I thought, she just told me bring everything. So I brought everything, and then I get through the security, and then they're like, oh, only one person is allowed up in the triage with the patient. I'm like, okay. So I let them know I was there. The mom came down, and then she's like, okay, yeah, you can go up, but she's like, wait, you don't need all that stuff. She's like, why don't you go put, all you need is this bag, and I'm like, okay, and then I was like, so I went back to the car and dropped everything off, came back, met her in the triage, and she pretty much she said we're still waiting. I think because at the time when they admitted her, they were still waiting for labor rooms. There weren't any available at that time, and there were like other moms that were kind of in line to get admitted before her. So.
Mhm.
They're like, okay, just sit tight. Well, once a room comes available, we'll give it to you, and you guys can go in. And I think, by the time we got a room, shoot, it was like nighttime or it was like nighttime already.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't. So mind you, I mean, these just been in the hospital in the triage room, which is like this tiny room that doesn't have a very comfortable bed, from 8 a.m. till like almost 8 p.m.
Dang.
I mean, yeah. So then we go to the labor room, and you know about this, Chris. And the labor room is huge, like it's a big room. I'm like, okay, all right, this is way better. Like we just upgraded to, we were in the cheap rooms to like the suites, and so we went to there, and then they hooked her up to all the machines and started to monitor her and the baby, and then they started the process, the Pitocin, the balloon, and everything. And then anytime while I'm talking, you guys can chime in or whatever, like as far as if you want to like give or tell your experience when a certain part came up. So anyways, so the first thing they did was they gave her this medicine to soften her cervix, so they could insert the balloon, right? So they inserted the balloon. It was from Dee's perspective. It wasn't painful, but it wasn't comfortable. She was very uncomfortable. Like she didn't like it, and plus two, she had to use the bathroom. So as they're doing it, she's like, "Wait, hold on, can you stop? I gotta go use the bathroom," because she was afraid that she was gonna, pee on them. And so they finally get the balloon in, and then they're like, "Okay, so now you're gonna have to wait an hour before you can do anything," and then we just play the waiting game. So I'm not sure how long it took, but the balloon was in her for a good while before she hit 4 centimeters, and then finally the thing came out. The balloon came out, and then once that happened, and then they're like, okay, well now once we put you on the Pitocin, you can't eat any solid foods. So she's like, okay, so she had her meal before they started Pitocin, and then they started it, and I can't figure out the timeline on how long she was on it for, but she was on it for a while, she was on it for the whole time until baby came out, but they just would increase the dosage depending on how far she was, as far as like.
Is this still Friday?
No, what do you mean Friday?
Monday.
This is we're still on.
I mean, is this Monday night? Sorry, not until.
No, so they actually started the Pitocin on Tuesday. So they started on Tuesday.
Okay.
What was it? I think it was Tuesday morning. Yeah, it was like Tuesday morning they started the Pitocin, and the doctor like, oh, do you want the epidural or what? And she's like, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for when the pain gets really bad, then I'll ask for it. She's like, well, I'm good for now. And then and even her doctor warned her, like, it's gonna get it's gonna hurt. It's gonna get
Yeah,
sore.
yeah.
That once you feel the contractions, it's gonna get sore. And she's
Yeah.
like,
And there's
okay,
like
well,
a
when
There's
can't
a
get it.
there is a certain point, when you can't get it anymore. Like I don't know when, but
It's like your
I'm
pain
pretty sure.
tolerance is good, and there's like it
no,
hurts. And they're like,
so
you're
what they were the doctor was telling us is that you can get the epidural all the way till like right before a baby comes out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like they're like, yeah, we'll give it to you like as you're in labor, they can give it to you.
Oh, okay,
As you-
okay.
Yeah. So but that's what they told her, and then she's like, okay, I'm fine. And then as the Pitocin went through her, she started to feel the contractions, and she's like, oh man, it started to hurt, like to the point where like she couldn't get any sleep because every time she would try to go to sleep, and then the contraction would happen, and she would wake up. And so they're like, she's like, I'm not gonna get any sleep if I keep doing this without the epidural. So they gave her the epidural. Oh man, a life changer. She was she felt so much better after she got it. Yeah. She's like, oh, finally. And she's like, but they told her like, oh, once you get the epidural, you can't eat any, like you can't have like soup or
it's just pretty much
any
ice,
like regular liquids and everything. And she's like, oh, I don't care, whatever, just give it to me. These contractions are they hurt. So she got the epidural, and then we're just waiting, and man, it was like she like he just did not want to come out.
Yeah.
He was up there for the whole day, like the whole Tuesday. So they gave her the Pitocin like in the morning, and she wasn't she was getting, the contractions were getting stronger, but she just wasn't getting dilated any further than 4 centimeters. And I think it was on the 15th, like early in the morning, like mid or like maybe 3-4 in the morning, where like a doctor came in and checked her, and she was like only 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from the morning Tuesday all the way to like Wednesday early morning, and she only went up 1 centimeter. And so they're like, wow, that's not good. So her actual OB came and saw her like around maybe 7:45. And then, she saw her, and she's like, any progress? And, he's like, nope, no progress. That's it. And then the OB's like, well, you know what? She just kind of suggests like, would you be okay with doing C-section? And then at that point, Dee was like, I don't want to keep going through these contractions, and I don't want to wait for baby to come out. She's like, it's time for him to come out. And so, she's like, the doctor's like, okay, let me go see the schedule, see what, what's available, and then we'll put you on the next one. So she leaves. Not even like 2 minutes later, she comes back. She's like, I guess we're going now. And I was like, okay. I was like, I guess this is happening. Let's go. And then so then they started prepping her, and then they gave me, the gown and the hairnet and everything. And they explained everything very well, and they told me what's going to happen. And I'm like, okay. So they take her to the OR. She gets ready. They bring me in, and they're already starting. And I remember when we were talking about, Chris, he's like, man, there's all these sounds. And I was like, there's all these sounds, and, and I just didn't feel comfortable when I heard the sucking, that vacuum thing that they use. It didn't really bother me. And, I was just kind of just with Dee and just trying to, be with her and just make sure that she's not paying too much attention to what's going on. Yeah. She was even telling me, she's like, can you sing to me? And I'm like, sing to you? I was like, what do you mean sing to you? She's like, yeah, because I don't want to to hear any of the noises that's going on, and I just want my attention to be taken away from what's going on. And I'm like, okay, how about we just talk? And then she's like, yeah, can you just talk to me then? And I was like, okay, let's talk. And then we're just having a conversation. And then, but then at the same time that I'm talking to her, I want to know what's going on. Like I want to see. But they were still going, and then I think like just before they pulled him out, they asked me, they're like, hey, Dad, do you want to go and see them take baby out? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And they're like, just all you gotta do is just stand up. They're like, don't go behind go behind the curtain. So I just stood up, and then they pulled baby out, and
you're a brave man, Kevin. You're a very brave man.
But so the thing is, I didn't see any guts or
the background stuff. Like, I think you're just your focus was just on your baby, but still you're still a brave man. I would not.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and I didn't see any of the gross stuff. But even if I did, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
But so they're like, okay, you're gonna see baby. So I saw baby, and then and I was just telling Dee, I was like, oh, he's so beautiful, and they took him, to the area where they clean him and everything, and then they call me like, oh, come, Dad, you can take video, and so I took video, and then cut the umbilical cord. And I remember what you guys said. They're like, oh, watch out, it's really tough, so you gotta kind of don't try to just snip it one time. You gotta take small steps. And that's what I did, and it worked. So so you guys, good advice, thank you. That's what I did. And then so I did that, and everything was good, and and then they gave me baby, and I took her to Dee, as she was still lying down, and then we took baby to the. So actually, the recovery room was the labor room.
Okay.
Where we went to, in the beginning. So we took baby back there, and then I didn't notice, but so baby has his own nurse that sticks with him, for that whole time from delivery to the recovery room. And then once we go up to the postpartum, then that's where, then a new nurse takes over. But so baby has a dedicated nurse to him. And then it's just so weird, how seeing the difference between baby and Dee, they have the nurses that are trying to take care of Dee, and then they have the nurse that are taking care of the baby.
Yeah.
And it's super interesting because so after they had to finish up, and then so I was with baby the whole time, and let's see, I can share some pictures.
Dude, I give you guys a lot of credit though. You guys are so attentive and aware of what was going on. Dude, when I was there, I was just along for the ride, dude. I did not know anything. I did not pay attention. I was just there. And they're like, Kate, you go here, Dad, you come here. And that's all I'd listen to. Bro, I had no idea what she took, what she was on. Bro, I couldn't tell you anything. I was just there. And so when you guys talk about it, and you guys are like, she took this and that. Bro, I have no idea what she took. And Shani's told me a few times, I've talked about it, oh, what happened when this happened, and she tried to explain it to me, and I just don't remember. I have no idea.
Yeah, when Dinah was getting C-section, it was pretty intense. I was looking at all the nurses' eyes, I was telling you guys. I was because I could just see it in their eyes, oh my God, what is going on? Obviously they're seeing something. I don't know if it's regular supposed to be what they're seeing.
Yeah. See, I was just
there. Can you guys see this?
No. I can't.
Oh wait, did not work. I was trying to share my
and then your desktop.
Share screen.
Yeah.
And then
your desktop screen should pop up.
I put entire screen.
Yeah.
Share. Oh, this is lost position to capture. Wait. Oh, I gotta. Dang it. I don't want to figure this out right now. So that's okay. I'll deal with it. Anyways, so after baby left, we're back in the recovery room, and then it's just me, baby, and nurse. And so like, they're telling me, okay, so we gotta weigh baby. They weigh him, and then they're like, okay, so at this point it's important that baby has skin to skin contact.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. So they're like,
See,
okay, take off
that's
your shirt.
weird though. Like James had that same experience. I don't remember having that skin to skin with Shazen at the very initial night.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think it just depends on the nurse in the hospital.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, but so they, she's like, okay, you want to do that? And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I take off my shirt. They give me baby, and I'm holding baby, and baby is fine, like not crying, just chilling. Like I think he was like going to sleep. He was sleeping. So
that was a surreal experience, yeah.
Huh?
That was a surreal experience, yeah. Seeing
oh yeah,
baby
big time.
literally laying on your chest, and I literally was just looking at her, Maddie, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing, mommy and daddy, if we ever do something wrong. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, that was like super. Yeah, it was a very surreal experience, and after that, and I think so I was just holding baby, and then finally, Adi comes back. She comes back in, and she's still kind of she's there, but she's still out of it, kind of groggy, and she and. Like I was like, oh, do you want to hold baby? And she's like, no, I don't want to hold him yet because I'm still kind of groggy, and I just it's like I just want to see him. So I took him, to her so she could see him, and then they're still doing whatever they needed to do to make sure that she was good to go, because I think her blood pressure went up, so we couldn't leave the recovery room yet. We had to wait for her blood pressure to go back down, and it wasn't going back down, so they had to give her magnesium. And
dude, she walks so well.
Yeah, dude, she runs everywhere.
She's so balanced.
So cute. So they gave her magnesium, and that made her blood pressure to go down. Okay. And then finally, and then after that, they sent us up to the postpartum room. Man, the postpartum rooms are like way smaller than the labor rooms. It like got downgraded.
We're done with you guys. You don't need. We need to push you out. We're done. You need to leave in 2 days. Get out of here.
I know. I was like, when we went there, I was like, wait, what? What's going on? I was like, what happened? Like, why is the room smaller? Because I'd figure it would be like either the same size, I figured it'd be the same size because baby's there, it's like now you get 3 people there, right?
Yeah, add another person.
Yeah, but nope. I was like, okay, so we're going in this tin can in here. Okay, all right. I guess we'll deal with it. And then so we get there, and then the nurse, she tells us like, okay, so are you guys breastfeeding or are you doing formula? And me and Dee both know that it takes a while for milk to come in and everything, but we wanted to breastfeed as much as possible. And so we're like, yeah, we want to breastfeed, but I don't think your milk's in yet. And the main thing is they're telling us that we should, at least the baby should at least latch.
Yeah.
Let him latch. He can get you don't, even though you don't have milk, you have colostrum.
Yeah.
And they're like, just let him drink that. It's like the baby's stomach is like a super tiny right now, so they can't really eat that much anyways. So just do that, and then it will be okay.
Just drops, man. That's all they need.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, that's fine. And then so the baby's with us this is on Wednesday. So the baby's with us, and then I think they had to start doing the tests on him, like the blood test and the hearing test and everything like that. And then I'm not sure if you went through this, Chris, but they asked me, they're like, oh, are any of you Filipino? I'm like, oh yeah, I am. and they're like, okay, we got to test for this. I forget what it's called, but it's like some acronym or something.
It sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure they asked me that, but
Yeah.
like I said, bro,
Special.
when I was there, I was just there for the ride. I was just there. I was just along for
Yes,
the ride,
everything.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just asked, they're like, oh, are you Filipino? And like, yeah, I'm like, okay, we gotta add this test onto all the tests that we're already doing. And then the baby came back, and then if we found out that he had jaundice, and
Okay.
we're like, well, what's jaundice? We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, the baby's skin color is yellow. Oh, okay, wait. Sorry, I want to just jump back to when baby first came out. When I saw baby, and he had like the cone head, and I'm like, what the F is that? I was like, why is my baby looking like a xenomorph right now? I was like, in my head, I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I was like, what's going on? And then, like, thankfully, the nurses, they're so nice and so informative. They're like, oh, don't worry about this. Before I even asked, they told me, they're like, oh, don't worry about the cone head. It's just because he was trying to come down, and that's why it shaped his head like that. And it's just swelling. It's swelling right now. It's gonna go down, and yeah, it's like it takes like 24 to 48 hours to round out. And I'm like, oh, okay, oof, thank God. And because I was worried, I was like, what? But you guys didn't tell me that.
See, for me, I don't even realize it. Like, I guess I'm just not very like attentive to the details. Like, I don't think I noticed it. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and look at my video and see if I can see it, because I did not recognize it at all.
No, Maddie's was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to come out, and Diana. I mean, it was just wasn't happening. And when she came out, she had a pretty big cone head. I was like, oh, that's probably why she's so tall. You have to subtract some inches or some doctors.
Yeah. So
right there.
Yeah. So I found out about that, and then and yeah, it's just there's a lot of things that I found out that that they help you with, and informing you about, like with the umbilical cord, as far as like wiping it with alcohol wipes, and and they're telling me, oh, don't worry, there's no nerves in the umbilical cord, so even though you wipe it, like if they cry, it's just because it's cold. It has nothing to do with, they're not experiencing any pain or anything like that. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know, things that you guys didn't tell me, by the way.
It's better if you just figure out on the go. It's more fun and it's interesting.
After you have baby, we're giving you advice before the baby comes. And all this stuff you're telling us out, we're gonna tell you like today.
We wouldn't have this cool stories if we didn't. If we told you.
Yeah. We'll tell you all that.
No, and then the jaundice thing, they also told me, like, oh, this is normal. A lot of babies go have
I feel like
it.
it's popular nowadays.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, so but because he has jaundice, we have to do blue light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, how long do you have to do that for? And like, oh, we got to do it for this long. And so because he was going, before that, they actually took him to get circumcised. So he got circumcised.
Did you get to watch that?
So we didn't watch it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't want to watch that. Like that.
I don't think they give me the option, but I don't think you want to watch that.
Well, I wasn't there when they took him to get circumcised, but I don't think they gave an option to. Anyways,
I feel so bad.
The way they explain it to you, you don't want the doctor that asked us literally told us like straight up, it's like, this is the most barbaric thing we'll ever do. And I was like, yeah, I'm not. Did they tell that to you, Kev?
Did they help you with this part as far as taking care?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know anything about that, obviously.
Did they explain it to you like that, Kevin, or did they just ask you?
No, they just asked them, like, oh, do you is he gonna get circumcised? And we're like, oh yeah, yes, he is.
They straight up, I remember that specifically. They said this is the most barbaric thing, and I was like, bro, why'd you have to say that? Like,
but I mean, so he came back, and the only part was like when you have to take care of it, as far as like putting on the bacitracin and stuff on the gauze, and so that was interesting. So when he was doing the blue light therapy, that's where he was. But going back to what you guys were asking, as far as like, how are they doing it with COVID and everything?
Yeah.
And come to find out, yeah, they don't take the baby to the nursery.
Yeah.
The baby
Okay.
stays with the
With you
parents
the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, they stay with the parents the whole time. But because he was doing blue light therapy, that's where he
Go
was.
into a separate
So
room.
he was mostly over there, and he would just come back to eat. Try to latch, and yeah, that's it. That's
Was
all
he able
he
to
would.
latch?
No, he wasn't. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
we had a hard time with Maddie. I mean,
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
hard.
I felt
It's
bad.
super hard.
Like we
Yeah.
tried both sides. I mean, it was just we had the nurses trying to help us. It was just
Yeah.
oh my god, it was really bad for
Did
Diana.
you guys did you guys have a specialist at one point? Because I swear,
Yeah,
like
like
for
a
ours one,
lactation consultant or something. That's what
yeah,
they call them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like at
So
one point they put a specialist for us.
Yeah, she was actually very helpful. I mean, like she explained everything to us and gave us the rundown, like, well, this is how it goes, and like the way she said it, like the way all the information she gave, were like, oh yeah, let's totally go breastfeeding, like that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And I know that's they push for it hard, but then it's like he wasn't latching, so what do we do? I mean,
Yeah.
And
we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't know what to do, and I think the next day another lactation consultant came, and she was telling her like, oh, he's not latching, and then she's like, okay, well, show me how you feed him, and then we had baby, and then they were showing. She was showing her how she's doing it. She's like, here, this is how you got to do it. You got to do it like this, and she was like pretty much like guiding her step by step on how to do it, and because she's like, oh, you got to make sure you get some colostrum out, and then she's like, I don't have any, and then she's like, oh, watch, and then like she would squeeze it. She's like, oh my god, there it is, and then she's like, oh my god, wow, I didn't even know, and then we're just like, okay, let's go, and then I think he latched for a little bit, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't enough like that a regular baby's supposed to latch.
Yeah.
And so, we were worried, like, is he getting, proper amount of nutrition? Like, is he eating enough? And they're like, oh, don't worry, it's okay. Baby's he's still small. His stomach's still small, so he can't eat that much anyway. So we're still good. And we're like, okay, so we're just listening to the nurses and just taking their advice. And, the nurses at Kapilani were super helpful. I remember you, Chris, saying that Shani didn't have the greatest time with some of the nurses there or something. But
I don't think it was like, I think it was just like one, I think it was like for overall, it was like pretty decent. I think there was like just one incident where and this is where I go back where I wasn't very attentive, but something happened where she had like major migraines towards the end. And every time she would like sit up, she would like get really nauseous and want to throw up. And so it was happening for like a long time. And like right when we're going to check out, like literally right when we're checking out, Shani had mentioned it one more time to one of the nurses. And just so happened this nurse like knew exactly what was wrong. And they had to like go back and then like redo something. It was something with her like shot in her back or something, but they had to redo it. So like luckily that nurse caught it right before we checked out. If not, she would have been like nauseous and sick like the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like pretty much all the nurses we have were all awesome except for one nurse, and she did her job. Okay, I'm not gonna say she didn't do her job. She did her job, but she just wasn't the most friendly.
Yeah, we had one too.
Yeah, and I was just like, geez, at least you can be a little bit more friendly. This is a new experience for us.
Yeah.
I know. We're new parents. Like I get it. We're asking all these dumbass questions.
Yeah.
All the time from parents, but like, yeah, we had one nurse. She was just not friendly. She was just like, your baby's fine. Your baby's fine.
Yeah.
We're just like you telling us that is not very comforting.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, we think something's wrong. Like you could at least pretend to be like, oh, you know what? Here, let me see. But she's just like, no, your baby's okay. And I was just like, oh.
Well, luckily we didn't have any of those kind of nurses in the postpartum. Actually, the nurse that wasn't friendly was in the labor room. We were in the labor room, and like, mind you, so we had one nurse who was super friendly, super nice, and we're like, oh my god, we love this nurse. She's the best nurse in the world. And then the unfriendly nurse comes, and we're like, oh gosh,
Both sides of the spectrum, you get the
like,
good.
can we get the other nurse back?
There's no
Because
in
we don't.
between for him.
And because like the other nurse, I mean, the first nurse we had, she's super nice, and like, sometimes we wouldn't wear a mask, and she didn't say anything about it, and she would let us go. She would let us sleep. She would always explain different things, like, oh, this was happening, this was going on right now. And then the unfriendly nurse, she wouldn't explain anything. We had to ask her, like, what's going on, and she would tell us like, oh, can you just put on your mask, because, and I'm
You
like,
have to wear your mask in the room
you have to wear your mask when the nurses
when they
aren't
enter.
in there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, when they enter and stuff like that. But like the other nurses, they were fine. They're like, it's not a big deal. It doesn't bother us, because they're wearing masks.
So do you get tested before you go in there though?
Okay, funny thing, right? We were under the impression that we were going to get that we would get tested. So Dee got tested that Monday, when she got there, when they're like, okay, we gotta admit you, we gotta give you a COVID test. So they did give her a COVID test. But me, nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I mean, I could be very wrong, but I feel like if you get tested before you get in there, and like you kind of like created that bubble, like I feel like you should be able to like move in your room without having a mask on if you got tested when you're in there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, COVID. I mean, everybody is aware of COVID, but they're not like, it's not like they're like, oh my god, we can't do this because of COVID type deal. It's just business as usual. Oh, and then, what's it called? Yeah, that I remember we were talking about in another episode as far as like the food situation, for the dads. Yeah, and you had a good James. Okay, like because Chris was right. I had to go to the freaking cafeteria. The cafeteria ain't close.
Yeah, so
like,
wait.
Ain't close. I had to walk like 2 miles to get to the cafeteria.
Because James, you guys were at Queens.
Yeah.
So didn't you guys had a huge room then after you guys gave birth?
Yeah, after we gave birth, we
had it easy.
It wasn't huge, but we didn't downgrade after Diana gave birth.
See, James had it easy
before she went to the operating room, and we went back to the same room. Yeah,
James doesn't know the struggle.
There was a menu, but I want this, this, and this, and they just brought it up.
Know the struggle.
Like, man, this is good stuff in there.
No, it wasn't like that. No, I swear to God, every time I had to get something to eat, I felt like I was doing a WOD. Okay, because I would have to travel, far just to get food, and and like.
Did you guys have the last meal though, like the celebratory dinner?
Okay, let me wait. Where are we in the story?
Food?
Okay, so
travel.
Yeah, but
section.
Let me.
The
jaundice. Right?
Yeah, jaundice.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, so they're doing the blue light therapy for the baby, and that's actually during that time. That's the only time we could get sleep because, other than that, baby's with us, right? Yeah. So when the baby was doing the blue light therapy, that's when we would get sleep.
Yeah.
And then, I think so. Thursday came, and then, Thursday Big was doing the blue light therapy, and then I think Friday came. They're like, oh, okay, Friday we're gonna, they did give us the paper for the final meal, and we did fill it out, and so
I'm afraid where the story is going.
I think for C-sections it's 3 nights. You have to stay 3 nights. So if she gave birth on Wednesday morning, so she would have to stay Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, right? And then we would leave Saturday. So Friday comes, he's good. They did another test on his jaundice, and his levels are low. He's good. He don't need the blue light therapy anymore. All the other tests are good. He's good, healthy baby. And then, Dee's like, she's like, okay, is it possible, if we can leave today, Friday?
Yeah.
And the nurse is like, yeah, you can go ask. And then um, we got a pediatrician to come, and the pediatrician's like, yeah, baby's good. As long as your OB says you're good, then yeah, I don't see why not. Why you guys can't leave? And then I told Dee, I was like, wait, what about our last meal? And then
Yeah.
she's like,
Celebratory for
honey, I'll get you highs, okay? I'll get you highs. All right.
You're the best.
She's like, we don't need the last meal, okay? I'll get you highs. Don't worry about it. I'm like,
You end up getting it?
okay. No,
No,
because
yeah,
we left
yeah.
on Friday.
I knew it.
No, you're
Yeah, because
Oh.
the doctor said she's good to go. She can leave. Then so I was like, okay, fine. All right, let's go then. But
That's
the
one extra night you
good
don't have to pay.
was
That
that?
hospital bill, that's one extra night that you don't have to pay all the freaking charges that the hospital charges you. For that
yeah.
extra night. All the medicine, all that BS. Like, oh my
Well, but mind you, we've been there since Monday. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Well, but still, one more day, man. That's
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if we went there on Friday, like our regular scheduled, we probably would have been there for that long.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so the everything passed, and they're telling us all these what you got to do, and good thing for the nurses, I would always ask them like, oh, how do what do I when I change a diaper, what do I have to do? And they explain it step by step, like, okay, you got to do this, and this. I'm like, okay, got it. And then they're like, how do I swaddle? And they're like, here, I'll show you how.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. This is how you swaddle. I'm like, okay, awesome. Now, because now I know it, I have to do all of it.
Yeah.
So like anytime, because right now we're at the in-laws house, yeah, and they're helping us. And in the beginning, they would just be like, oh, okay, here, I would have to show Dee's mom and the auntie, like, okay, like, how do you change him? Okay, this is how you change him, this is how you swaddle him, and yeah, everything else. So yeah, that was huge help. Shout out to the nurses.
They have this. Well, they had it when Jason was born, but they have like a Velcro swaddle thing. It's like it doesn't work as great, but it's better than like having to swaddle him like at nighttime. Like you can get it pretty good.
Yeah, we ended up getting that. Just use the blanket after.
Yeah, I heard about that, but we didn't have that. We just used and actually I like the blanket swaddle is.
Oh yeah. You can get it real tight.
Yeah, real tight. But
the Velcro, I think the Velcro was like good for like certain spots where like you're just kind of too lazy and you just want to just do it quickly.
Yeah.
The Velcro was decent.
Yeah. So after that, so when they said we were good to go, we left, and I mean, I know I was listening to the last episode, you guys talking about like, like, oh man, Kevin he's gonna have it so tough and da 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 da. I mean, like, guarantee yes that the first night, like the first 2 nights, yeah, because actually he slept a lot, like to the point where we have to wake him up to feed him and change him and all that stuff, because that's what they told us, right? They're like, oh, every 2-3 hours, make sure you feed him and change him. And, so sometimes like it would come around 3 hours and he's still sleeping. And we're like,
nice.
Wow. Like, usually babies are supposed to just, it's like clockwork, right?
Yeah. They
just automatically do it. But no, yeah, he was good. And so like, I feel bad when we're trying to wake him up, like,
yeah.
But
waking up a time bomb.
Yeah, so I mean, we would take turns, and Dee's mom is helping us. She's a huge help, and I remember, you James, you're saying like, oh no, the mom didn't. I mean, the parents didn't help us. We had to do everything ourselves. And like, oh well, we had to help.
I think for us, we didn't like at night. I'm not gonna wake up my in-laws like when the baby wakes up to feed. So like literally 8 to like 8 in the morning. If the baby wakes up, I'm handling it. And the daytime, they would help us out when they can. But at night, it was like, I'm not gonna go knock on their door and be like,
dude, no, I've not personally, but I've heard of other people where like if they were staying with the in-laws, like the in-laws would like when they hear the baby crying,
Yeah.
they would come into the room to like grab the
Yeah,
kid for them and help them
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah,
and so
for us,
I was just about to say that. Like, I didn't even wake up the mom. The mom would
Yeah,
just come.
they hear it and they come inside. Yeah,
for us, we're like, just sleep because we knew they were gonna help us in the daytime. We're like, I'd rather have you get some rest because for me as parent, like we were like, if the baby woke up, like even Diana, if she was breastfeeding, it was hard for me to fall back asleep because it was like the baby's up, it's like she's up, but I had to really force myself, like, hey, one of us needs to get rest. So like, and then for Diana, she was pumping every 2-3 hours, so she has to wake up no matter what every 2-3 hours to pump because if you stop pumping, then you're not gonna get milk. Yeah. So I had to make sure I wake up when the baby, and then Diana's already up anyway because she's pumping. It was bad. I felt for her. Like it was rough for the first couple of months.
Yeah, and then and then another thing was, our son's pediatrician doesn't go to the hospital when the baby comes because of COVID or something. I don't know if that. Yeah.
You guys chose a pediatrician before you guys.
Yeah, we chose, and then we didn't. After the baby was born, we dropped like within the first week.
Yeah.
Oh wait! You didn't choose a pediatrician before Chasen was born?
I'm not too sure. Like I want to say like we did, but we did, like the pediatrician didn't come to the hospital either. I want to say like we just took him to his first appointment.
We ended up choosing only because I think you can't just like we thought you could just choose, but every parent was telling us like no. Some pediatricians can tell you no, we're booked. We already have, and we're not taking new patients. So we were like, we'll pick before the baby's born, and we got lucky. We ended up getting one. So we had to interview them too. Yeah, we had like
what?
Because we had to interview.
Oh yeah. Because you want to make sure you're
what are your values, like.
Dude, so I have a kind of a longer like a story though. So Shaden's first pediatrician was the worst experience ever, and I just want to tell parents like if you choose a pediatrician and if you don't like feel comfortable with them, like feel free to just leave and find another one because that's what we did. Because bro, this pediatrician would make us feel like the worst parents in history, and it was like super bad. Like
how did you guys find him?
It was a recommendation from a family friend from a family member.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so we thought
did you go to that family friend after and be like
well, like it's just I guess everyone's different. Like I guess they had a better experience with the pediatrician, and I'm not 100% sure that family friend went to them when their kids were young. I think they found that pediatrician when they were older.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was like a little bit of a different experience. But yeah, it was.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like she was trying to tell us like we were overfeeding Shazen, like because he was like breastfeeding and stuff, and she was trying to tell us like Shazen was overeating and he's getting too fat and this and that, and we're like, forget you, like this is a kid, like he's gonna like latch on and he's gonna just keep eating until he's done, like. And she sent us to the she actually sent us to like I forget what it's called, but it's like a lactation specialist. Mm-hmm. Where they go to see if your baby's eating enough. So like they weigh him before, and then you breastfeed him, and then they weigh them again, and then like they do all kind of tests to see how much milk and stuff that the baby is eating. But he was eating perfectly fine, but that lady was just making us feel horrible.
Yeah,
so,
for us, we felt like it was better, like for Diana to pump, and then we put her breast milk obviously in the bottle, so we know how much the baby's drinking rather than. Breastfeeding, you're like, freak, is milk coming out? How long are they drinking?
Yeah.
After a while, man, the nipples get raw, dude. Like they'll.
Oh yeah, it's rough. So, they like scab up and stuff.
And we just froze the milk because she was pumping like so much milk was coming. So we ended up having to buy like a freezer to store all the milk, and then we would just thaw it, warm it up, and so it was actually better for us.
Yeah.
That way.
Oh, so with my experience as far as the pediatrician goes, Dee actually chose one like way early in her pregnancy, because she actually chose her cousin's kid's pediatrician, and we talked to him like way early on hand, and it was it wasn't like an actual like in person meet and greet. It was I don't even think we did like virtual. I think it was just over the phone, and we were just talking to him over the phone, and or maybe I think D had virtual, but I was over the phone because I couldn't do it virtual. But yeah, we talked to him, and he seemed super nice, like, okay, we know he felt good. And then so when we left the hospital, we came here. We had the very next day, so we left Friday. Saturday we went to see the pediatrician. And okay, so when the pediatrician that was at the hospital that was talking to us about everything, she's like, okay, do you want us to set up the appointment for your pediatrician, or do you want to do it? And then we were like, okay, can you guys do it? And then they're like, yeah, no problem. She leaves, she comes back, she's like, okay, you're set up 8:00 tomorrow morning at their office. And we're like, okay, sweet. We get there next day, we get to the pediatrician's office, we check in. Our pediatrician wasn't even expecting us, and we're like, what? How did that happen? And then he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't. And he's like, I didn't know you guys were on the schedule. Like, really? Like, I thought they called you guys. I was like, there's some disconnect. I don't know who it was, but anyways, so our pediatrician's super nice. He's really good person. Like, he was very caring, and he understood that we're new parents, and when we had questions, he would answer them. And funny thing with opposite of you, Chris. So before we left, they weigh the baby, and baby lost some weight, and they said, oh, that's normal. Most babies, they lose weight just after, and so they weighed him again, and he actually lost like more weight. So he came in 7 pounds 10 ounces. When we went to the pediatrician's office, he was like 7 pounds 1 ounce.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh wow. And they're like, how much are you guys feeding him? Like, oh, we're just feeding him what the nurses recommended for us. And they're like, oh, try breast, and if not breast, then try formula. And like, oh, how much formula are you giving him? Like, oh, we're only giving him like 15 milliliters, like, which is like half an ounce. They're like, oh no, yeah, you should give him more, like maybe
2 ounces, I would say.
Yeah, they're like, you should give him at least like at least like, they're like, he at the stage where he was at, they're like, oh, he can have like 45 milliliters.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, so like 1.5 ounce. They're like, oh, he can, because he was only like 3 days old at that point. And they're like, oh yeah, he can have like 1.5 ounces. So like, okay, so that's what we'll feed him. And then we had another scheduled appointment for that Monday. So we just did everything that he told us. Like, we'd ask him, like, oh, is it possible that we overfeed him? And like, oh, don't worry, if you overfeed him, he'll let you know. Like, he'll start spitting it out. He'll start spitting it out, and so don't worry about overfeeding him. Just like, all you gotta know is every time he cries, it's either he gotta be changed, he's hungry, or he needs to be burped. Like, those are the only three things.
That's as bad.
Those are the only three things, so I can be crying. And I'm like, okay. So, like that during that weekend, we were doing everything the pediatrician told us. Anytime he cried, we'd like feed him. Oh, yep, he was hungry. Or if he cried again, oh, it changed his diaper. Oh, yeah, here he stopped. Like, everything. It's like clockwork. Like, everything that he told us, it was true. And we're like, okay. And then we went back that Monday, and then they weighed him again, and he gained like 5 ounces. So they're like, okay, good. Yeah, just continue what you're doing. Keep feeding him, and yeah, it's gonna be good. We'll set you up for your 2-week appointment, your month appointment, your 2 months appointment, and all that. So yeah, everything went good. The only thing was, he was saying that like the jaundice wasn't totally going away, and so they're like, oh, let's do one more blood test just to make sure. And so they did one, and they found out that it's it didn't go any higher. It's still taking time for it to go out of the system, because I think when you have jaundice, they gotta it's either gotta be like pooped or go through the urine or whatever. So yeah, but now he's you don't see any yellow on him, and he's good. Yeah, and like everything, and then so as far as like going back to work, um, these like, oh, when are you going to back to work? I'm like, well, I can go back. I'll stay with you as long as I need to. And she's like, no, you shouldn't stay out that long. And I'm like, well, like what then? She's like, and I was like, what about if I go back Wednesday? And then she's like, yeah, just go back. Yeah, go back to work Wednesday. I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, just go. It's fine. Just go back to work. Mind you, okay, so he was born on a Wednesday, and she told me
Yeah.
to go back to work on the. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. She's like, go back. I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And also, um, she's like, when we go to sleep, she said, don't wake up. Just continue to sleep. Like when baby wakes up, yeah. She's like, don't worry. Just my mom will help me. We'll take care of him and do whatever. Just like you need your sleep for work. And I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. Just don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, man, like I know Chris and James didn't get this kind of treatment.
Dude. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
getting
it's-
class treatment.
Yeah. I mean, for
Yeah.
us, it was because it was just me and her at home at nighttime. But Shani would try to like give me like every other feeding. She's like, you just wake up every other time to like help, because she breastfed, so she would just need help burping and changing him at night. So she was like, just wake up every other feeding to help burp and change him. And then it got so bad to the point where like she would wake me up for when it was my turn, and I'd be like, I thought we said it was every other. And she'd scream like, it is every other. I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm up.
It's hard because if they had a C-section, like they can't move, man.
No, yeah. So that's another thing too. Like, so
was like,
I'd have to pick him up to give him to her. Like, so I'd wake up every time to give him to her, but then like I'd have to like I could go back to sleep. But yeah, it was.
She was just pumping. It was just like I don't know if D's gonna pump, but it takes a lot out of you. Like I didn't think I was like, you just sit there, but no, like it takes a lot of energy out of them.
So like when Diana first started pumping, like how much would she get from?
In the beginning, it was maybe a couple of ounces, but dude, she could fill up almost a 9-ounce bag on one pump.
Yeah, if you gotta continue, like you gotta continue to do it like clockwork, so your body just starts producing it.
Literally like every 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
So like she would literally had to do like 2 pumps. Like she was getting so much milk, and we were like, this is liquid gold, man.
Yeah, it literally is.
As much as we could. So we got really lucky because her cousin, she was pumping, and she'd be lucky if she could get like 2-3 ounces. And I was like, oh my god, that's not a lot. But like same
thing. These not getting a lot either. I mean, she's getting some, but it's not not as much as Diana's getting.
I would say you'd have to be consistent.
Yep.
And just keep at it for like a week or two.
How long does she do it for?
Oh, dude, Diana, she did it until I left because it was hard.
No, I mean as far as like each
time,
session,
20-30 minutes kind.
Yeah. Every 2-3 hours she would pump. And
for how long?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, like 20 to 30 minutes, right? Yeah, I want to say that's like
30 minutes is the most. And I would say that's a long side. I would say probably 15-20 minutes she would be good because it was just literally. She had the electric one, so it was just like literally just squirting. Like it was. I was like, oh my god. I was like so amazed. I was like, dude, that's like so much milk. Because I would have to package it, label it, because we put dates on there because when we freeze it, we want to use the oldest ones. And yeah, it was. D should call Diana. We got really lucky. Like we felt bad because when I left, obviously Diana couldn't pump and feed all at the same time, so she wasn't able to be consistent with pumping. And then after a while, she wouldn't get as much milk. And then we decided we'll just use the rest of this milk and we'll just do formula. And then it was fine. I mean, to be honest, our next baby we might do formula because it's just save her to be able to sleep a little bit better. I mean, I was raised on formula. Like formula now, our pediatrician said it's just as good. And I wouldn't have her go through that again because it was just tough. I mean, you wake up every 2-3 hours, and when she goes to work, she would have to pump. Like it's just too much, man. Like, but I mean, every parent's different. So, but for us, formula was fine, and it was really good with her gas too. Because depending on your baby, like man,
Yeah, because they have so many different types of formulas too now.
uh,
Yeah.
like she had colic. Like that's like hopefully your kid doesn't have, but like there's nothing you can do. Like you can try to burp, but when you have gas, like you just have to let it. Like the baby doesn't know how to like get
Yeah.
far, you know. So they just feel all the pressure. So like we even had to do that little fart thing. Like I don't know, Chris, if you had to do it, it's like a little tube, and you literally put Vaseline on it, and you stick it in their butt,
Oh,
and then it's crazy. It like whistles. It's like, "Wee!" I'm like, oh my
yeah.
god! And then the baby was like, Maddie,
We've
stop
heard of
crying.
it. Yeah, like
So
like
that
our
was crazy.
pediatrician, because we talked to our pediatrician about him having gas,
Mhm.
and she showed us like techniques on how to try to get it out. But she did say like if it got bad, we'd have to do that. But
Yeah,
luckily, the techniques that she showed us to do like worked. Like
yeah.
we would like
Maddie
lay him down and
was
like
tough.
bicycle kick him and stuff. Yeah,
Yep, we tried the bicycle kicks. It was
massage his stomach. Yeah,
it was bad. And then we even tried like there's certain formulas where it's really good with gas, and then also
yeah,
depends on the bottles you get. So you
yeah.
have to be really tricky because you want to
How
make sure
much
you
air gets in them?
yeah.
Yeah,
We got this one bottle from Phillips where it helps with like you can see it when she drinks, like all the air pockets go up to the top. So
yeah,
she's not drinking in those air pockets. So
yeah.
that was a big help too once we switched to those
And there's
bottles.
like nipple sizes on the bottles. Like you gotta make sure like the right ones.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But Shani
But
didn't. Luckily, Shani didn't like bottles because she didn't want to like clean it.
oh
So she just breastfed. Because we tried the pumping and putting in the bottles, but she just didn't like cleaning the bottles after a while. It's a
well, we
process
just
to clean those bottles.
cleaned it. Yeah, we would
Yeah, but
literally
it's still a process. Like it's
yeah.
still a
The
process
process
to clean it.
it's a
It
lot.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
luckily
like
she was like
glad.
didn't want it.
Yeah, after a while, we're just like, you know what? We're just putting it in the dishwasher. Maddie's old now. Like,
Yeah,
her immune system, so we just put it in the dishwasher or
yeah.
whatever, and we'll steam it
So
when we can. But
like
we
I
used to
just told Shani whatever she wanted to do, like I'll do. Like if she wanted to breastfeed, I'll feed, because it's literally like her body. Like if it hurts, it hurts. But
yeah.
luckily she wanted to breastfeed, so I got super lucky on that, where I didn't have to do nothing.
So you're getting plenty sleep then?
Enough, yeah, enough. I mean,
What a
Oh
lucky
man,
guy!
bro,
What a lucky.
it's
you're
like
lucky,
not.
dude. You
I
lost
mean,
a little secret right now on my like.
no, I mean, like I said, like I was saying, in the first 2 nights, yeah, it was super hard. Yeah,
Bro,
it
I feel
was
like mine was
because
like a month or two. It was like rough.
Dude,
Like
there would be nights where I'd just be feeding. I'll just be like so tired. I'll just be like,
yeah,
oh my god, can you just
oh no,
sleep
yeah,
while
Yeah.
you're drinking and then you fall asleep? That would be perfect. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened. But
no, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I saw the last episode where Chris was talking about his oh shit moment when he like fell asleep and
bro,
holding
it's
Jason.
crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, like there were times when like Dee would fall asleep while holding him, but I was right there, like watching him and her while she did it,
Yeah.
and like I wouldn't, I would let him go, like it's fine, and then like people will walk in, like, is she sleeping? I was like, yeah, she's sleeping, but I'm watching, like I'm like right there just in case if
Yeah.
anything happens, but he's just tucked in the arm, and doing just fine. So yeah, it was good. I wish I could share. There's some settings thing that I have to set up in order to share a picture, but
Yeah.
I think next episode,
yeah,
probably,
for sure.
Yeah.
we'll get that set up in.
You're gonna have so many pictures.
Yeah.
So many pictures and video, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, I made the video. I actually finished making the video of that whole experience, and it actually came out to like 35 minutes. It's actually really super long.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, Jason's like 7 minutes, and then like Chris is like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I mean, because like we really like, and
You want to show everything, that's why.
Yeah, and we didn't even get everything. Like, I mean, if you look at the timestamps in the video, it's like they're so far apart, and like, man, we had a lot of. How do we have so much video in?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that like the longest parts in the video that I just made were when the cutting the umbilical cord, giving the update after when we got into the postpartum room, and then giving the update when we're back at the in-laws house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then once I get that, upload it and I'll share with you guys, and
Cool.
you guys can
That'll
take a
be
look at it.
fun.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much everything. I mean, we can. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk more about it in
Yeah.
each episode
It
as
sounds like
the
Kevin's
weeks go
living the
by.
good life so far.
I
though.
know Kevin's living the good life right now. he was out for a week. He's back to work, and he
Yeah.
comes home and goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to wake up at night. He just goes back to work. I'm like,
Oh, and don't forget too, I get a High's Steakhouse
Yeah, he gets
dinner
High's-
as well.
you ain't gonna get that. You'll get that on Father's Day, bro. Expect that on your Father's Day. You ain't getting that anytime soon. I'm gonna tell you right now. Especially with COVID, yeah, you ain't getting that right now.
I'm sure like Uber Postmates it or something.
yeah. Hey, you can do that too.
You should have got that dinner to go.
On
Told the hospital, hey, can you get it to go? I want it. We deserve this.
Yeah.
Everything to go, and we'll take it. We earned it. I want it. We might not be here, but I want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. I gotta get going. We gotta pack everything up.
Yeah.
So, but good chatting with you guys. It's so good to be back home already. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I know we can't wait for your stories being back, and then my stories and Chris's. So
yeah,
it's gonna be good.
All right.
Later.
We'll wrap this up.
Cheers.